The gaming industry has never been more insane than I've ever seen right now. We are witnessing massive changes across the board, literally shaping exactly how we play games, what we play, and everything else included in the gaming space. Really stop and take a look at it from this perspective. Marathon launched last week, and on top of that did pretty good, about 88,000 concurrent players. At the same time, however, though, we're watching games like Slay the Spire 2 hit over 500,000 players at the exact same time. An early access roguelike deck builder game that is going around and just demolishing all the player counts. We've seen games like Resident Evil 9 top 300,000 users as well in just a matter of a few days. And I think what really goes to show is the magnitude of how games like Resident Evil 9 and even Slay the Spire are showing so many other big AAA publishers and developers that not everybody has the time or the ability to play every single live service game. And there's going to be more flops coming around from that space as well. So even some AAA games and definitely indie and AA games are having a lot of the limelight being put onto them, which is fantastic. At the same time, however, you have announcements of brand new hardware. Valve Steam Machine supposedly coming out this year. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. And even then, Xbox with the new Project Helix as well. PlayStation may also be announcing their new PS6 soon too, and this is all happening in a short amount of time. The problem though is, I really think what's going to be happening is that Valve is going to be the one taking the brunt of the entire impact of all the negatives happening in the gaming industry right now specifically. And the reason why I say that is in fact pretty simple. Valve Steam Machine is a lot more niche than people actually expect, even though it does have Valve's name on it. And to make matters even worse, they're going to be the first ones possibly out of the gate to get their hardware out to the masses. And even with that happening, it looks like a lot of issues are going to be occurring, not just for Valve, but for everyone across the board. Because not only is RAM being impacted, it looks like storage is going to be even worse. According to WCCF Tech, the NAND crisis is now worse than DRAM. Samsung is doubling prices for the second quarter in a row. The Korean giant plans to hike prices by 100% in Q2 after a similar hike in Q1, bringing its total NAND price rise to over 200% this year. Now look, if you don't know what NAND is, N-A-N-D, well, don't worry, I'll help you guys explain it. NAND memory is exactly what's being used in SSDs. Everything that your PS5 Pro uses, your Xbox Series X uses, or S, and all PCs use as well. It's basically what you store all of your data into with your operating system and even your games. With companies like Samsung doubling the price quarter over quarter, it's going to impact everyone across the board. So now we've moved from the RAM crisis with actual wafers being purchased by OpenAI into the literal NAND crisis where memory is being impacted as well. And the thing is, what we've noticed right now is that so many console counterparts and even PCs have multiple SKUs of memory available to them, whether or not it's from RAM or even its storage itself. And the Steam Machine is going to have two different tiers of storage as well, which could also impact the pricing on what's going to be happening with that system and even every other major platform that's going to be releasing next year as well, including PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Project Helix. And the funniest part about this is going to be how companies, in fact, adjust their strategies for these kind of crises. Some will raise prices on hardware, which you've already seen right now, and others are going to try and nickel and dime you. Push Square on Twitter says this, quote, "This should be illegal. PS5's dynamic pricing roundly criticized by disgusted Sony fans." With the article saying this, there's no two ways about it. Sony is testing dynamic pricing on the PlayStation Store, and we've seen evidence of it ourselves. For those who aren't aware, this works by adjusting the price of PS5 titles on a per-user basis. So a power user in one country may see a different discount to a casual player in another. The best example of this right now is Assassin's Creed Unity, a game many may want to buy after its recent 60 FPS update, which for some shows a price of $4.99 in the UK when logged out. That price increases to $13.34 when logged in. Oh yes, we are living in the digital hellscape right now, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. When we talked about some of the worst things in gaming, yeah, here's one of them right now. Basically, if you're a user that goes around and consistently buys games on their storefront, they're going to monitor that and notice when you're logged in, what games you're buying, and how much you're willing to pay for it. Basically pushing the lever upwards every single time. And people that don't buy games as often may in fact see bigger discounts to entice them to spend more money onto the platform. That is exactly how this is being used. And if you don't believe me, PlayStation said it themselves in a previous article. They are purposely going to go around and monetize their users on their storefront, and especially as their members, in order to go through and avoid having to raise the price of their system in the coming future due to the actual crisis that we just talked about with RAM and even with storage. So now get ready to be nickel and dimed on a consistent basis. But that's just one way game companies are not trying to screw you as a customer and consumer. It looks like things are going to get even worse, not only for Valve, but also for Xbox as well. Because according to VGC, Xbox Project Helix could cost between $999 and $1,200, as a new report suggests. And this right here is where I'm getting incredibly nervous about what's happening in the gaming industry. I'm very excited about the Steam machine, 100%. I want to get my hands on the Steam controller as well. But if we're looking at the specs right now of what that machine has and what it could normally cost without Valve getting any profit from it or trying to break even, it's about $700, which is what I kind of padded out to a few months back when I did a PC part picker list if I wanted to build that system myself. The difference though is we're still seeing things increase in price. And if the Steam machine gets close to the $750 or $800 mark, you're going to be seeing everything else increase in price as well, especially if the new Project Helix gets close to that price point on top of that. And that's where things are going to get incredibly competitive, not just because of the system themselves, but also how companies are going to monetize their users. It turns out though, there's more to this article and more to what happened to Valve's Steam machine as well. Let's see. Xbox's upcoming Project Helix console is likely to have a price point somewhere between $999 and $1,200. That's according to tech journalist Moore's Law is Dead, who has been reporting for some time now on Xbox's next system and its console PC hybrid setup long before it was officially confirmed. Breaking down his justification for this price, he claimed that the next system will use tech similar to the successor to AMD's 9070 XT graphics card, and that the continued price of RAM will also affect the total cost. Saying, quote, if Microsoft wanted to sell this thing at cost, they could probably do around $900 if it was mass manufactured at a large scale. So anyone who thinks it'll be $2,000, I don't think the BOM total cost of parts suggests that. However, I do expect them to make at least a small profit on it, and so my estimate would be that if Xbox wanted to be kind of aggressive, they would go for $999. Now, granted, a lot of things that Moore's Law is Dead says I take with a pretty huge grain of salt. However, if this is actually going to be the case and Microsoft is trying to make this a PC console hybrid with a powerful set of specs to boot, you could clearly see things escalating incredibly high in the price range alone. And there's no better example than that than this, the Xbox ROG Ally X, costing at around $1,000. Even though this is made by Asus with Xbox's logo on it, having a handheld device be $1,000 and then a system far more powerful than what you have in the palm of your hands right now could definitely see the price increase across the board. And one big major factor that Moore's Law is Dead did talk about was the fact that the price of RAM is not going down. And WCCF Tech talking about the cost of NAND memory also increasing as well could be a major factor overall, not just for Xbox, but also for Steam and PlayStation on top of that. And this is all before Xbox even announces the actual console PC hybrid themselves, or even what the price will be, or what the performance will be. All of this is purely speculation. But the thing is, with all the other factors happening in the space right now, this is a huge sign of what's happening in the future. And like I said before, I think Valve is going to be the first one to fall on the sword. Because according to Hazardor Gaming, the Steam Machine, Steam Frame, Steam Controller listings are updated for coming soon as a release. That's right, just a few days ago, apparently we are going to be inching ever closer to the actual launch of the Steam Machine, which is also why I brought up those previous stories as well to talk about what is in fact happening now. Valve's Steam Machine is something I'm incredibly interested in, even though I already have a pretty good PC and I also have a Steam Deck as well. Clearly, it's something that I want to see happen because of the propensity of Linux and how it's impacting the entire gaming industry. The problem I'm seeing with this, though, is what's it going to cost? If Xbox does fall in line with what Moore's Law is Dead is saying, and they're charging $999 and everything else increases in price as well, and PlayStation also follows suit around $799 or even $849, you can clearly see a massive schism and problem with what's going to be happening. Why would anybody pick up a Steam Machine if you're seeing a $100 to $150 difference comparative to the performance of what you're going to be getting with next gen and even gaming hardware or even GPUs as well? So the timing and release of the Steam Machine and even the price has to be incredibly impactful. And this is where things could definitely go off the rails. Because also according to VGC, after causing uncertainty with a blog article saying it hopes to ship the Steam Machine and Steam Frame this year, Valve have insisted that they will ship in 2026. With VGC saying this, the company posted a blog article on Friday called Steam Year in Review 2025, in which it detailed all the new features, tools, and improvements it launched last year. The blog also mentioned Valve's hardware announcements, including the Steam Machine, a small PC designed for TV play, the Steam Frame VR headset, and the new Steam controller. And this is what's concerning me across the board. I think things are moving fast and loose with Valve and Steam and even the Steam Machine. Hell, across every piece of hardware altogether. Anything coming out within the next year in 2026 or even 2027 is going to have a hard time either pinning down dates or even pinning down pricing. And that's why I think Steam and Valve are going to be the canary in the coal mines for what we're going to be seeing next generation and all the new hardware coming forward. If Valve themselves are having a difficult time trying to pin down an actual date of not only releasing the price, but also when the Steam Machine itself will release, that is a huge concern, not only for someone like myself, but also everybody in the gaming industry. Unfortunately, it looks like Valve is going to be the first one out of the gate and could deal with the bigger issues of the RAM crisis and everything else happening right now, which could put the Steam Machine at a massive disadvantage to be even somewhat successful at all. But let's go ahead and see what Valve in fact had to say, because that could shed some extra light on things. Valve's post says, Section 1, Hardware. Okay, we know that this is technically the 2025 year in review, but to make sense of our hardware efforts, we need to go all the way back to 2013, when we first announced our plans to expand PC gaming into the living room. At that time, developers struggled with Linux compatibility. Valve was still learning about building and shipping physical products, and VR was a distant dream. We couldn't quite deliver the games library or user experience we were aiming at, even though players told us they were excited about playing PC games on the big screen. Fast forward to 2025, and we've solved a bunch of the hardest problems. The Proton compatibility layer brought thousands of excellent games to Linux and SteamOS at no cost to game developers. Millions of players have helped us refine the perfect gamepad experience of shopping, playing, and chatting on Steam. Manufacturing learnings from the original Steam controller, the Steam Link, Streaming Box, the Valve Index, and the Steam Deck all poured into realizing what we dreamed about more than a decade earlier: a gaming-first living room experience, an open platform for customers, and wireless virtual reality headsets with its own processing power. Here's the lineup of hardware we announced in 2025. We shared recently that there have been challenges with memory and storage shortages, but we will be shipping all three products this year. More updates will be shared as we finalize our plans. So Valve apparently is absolutely telling everybody else right now, we're going to be shipping these products this year. And honestly, I don't think Valve really has any other choice or option at this moment in time, seeing as how they went from a previous statement saying at some point to coming soon to, hey, it's this year. That's going to be a wild thing to see. And it's also going to be a good indicator of what pricing is going to be like for the next generation of systems and even PC hardware and everything else across the board. Andrew Fox on Twitter says this: early 2026 became first half of 2026, then first half became still coming this year. I don't blame Valve for the delays, looking at you, Altman, but I do think it's pretty funny how Valve's PR team are subtly gaslighting us. And this is what I think is actually happening. I don't think Valve is trying to intentionally gaslight anybody about this space right now. I think that Valve and Steam are the first ones truly dealing with what's been happening in the space. And really, that's what it's coming down to. We're going to be seeing companies like Xbox and PlayStation and so many others look to Valve to see what is in fact going to happen, how they should price their upcoming systems, and what is in fact going to be occurring with PC gaming altogether, and even the gaming industry as a whole. If systems, consoles, and PC parts become far too expensive, then what are gamers in fact going to do? A lot of people cannot afford to pony up that kind of cash altogether, especially to drop it down all at once on a brand new piece of hardware. And even then, we're seeing right now that so many PS4 gamers to this day still exist. And just to keep your eyes open a bit further, the Steam machine is apparently more powerful than 70% of all the hardware on Steam's own hardware survey. So that combination could put a lot of people into a higher level of gaming that they weren't expecting to get to before, simply because of pricing of components, where they're located in specific regions, or what they're having to pay in terms of actual component costs. This is going to be an incredibly exciting and also incredibly terrifying time in video games altogether. And I think what's happening right now is we're watching companies walk a very fine line to actual success and probable disaster. And the most ironic and iconic thing that could actually happen is watching the entire gaming industry look to Valve specifically to see what move they're going to make, whether or not they take a price hit on what the actual Steam machine will cost, or if they decide to either increase or decrease prices depending upon other pieces of hardware. I really feel like you're going to be seeing the Steam machine hit around a $749 price point. And if that's the case, you will also see the fact that Valve may not even make an actual profit on the Steam machine until quite some time after the entire crisis dissipates, or in fact the bubble pops. And if the Steam machine hits around $800 or even $850, then people are going to have to really second guess about what kind of product they're going to buy, whether or not it's the actual Steam machine, whether it's the Project Helix, or even the PlayStation 6. It's all going to be dependent upon what I think Valve does in these next crucial months. That is a fantastic dad joke if you know anything about Micron. Trust me. Because again, it's not just the Steam machine. The Steam Deck has also been sold out and difficult to buy as well due to this crisis. We're going to be seeing a lot of things change very quickly and a lot of pricing escalate very high as well. And if companies don't do the right thing and abide by their customers, this could be a generation where people, in fact, purchase new consoles even less and mostly stick to the hardware they already have. Hopefully Valve can figure this out, put out the Steam machine at a good price that's also incredibly competitive, and every other company as well putting out hardware follows that exact same route. I think the best play right now would be, in fact, for every company, Microsoft, PlayStation, and even Valve, to take a hit on the hardware rather than trying to sell it at a profit more than anything else, because clearly things are getting to be incredibly unaffordable, and it looks like this crisis isn't going to end anytime soon. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments section down below. What is the most you'll pay for a Steam machine? Are you even going to actually get one? Or do you even think they'll release this year? I want to hear what you got to say. Speaking about what you got to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With Alan Q7C saying this: if the hybrid has full-on desktop support that allows me to mod, I'm all in. Alan, I think you and a lot of other people feel the exact same way. A lot of people are saying to themselves, I don't want to build a PC, I don't want to pay for PC prices, but they want something close to that experience. And this next generation may be exactly what they're looking for. They're going to be saying goodbye to $500 consoles and saying hello to $1,000 hybrid console PCs instead. And that's going to be insane to see. However, though, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this kind of content, you want to see more, including PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even live streams, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 110K, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down live Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by about 800 people with TTS. It's a hell of a show. You don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!